Well, it's June. And I don't know what's going on, really. Here's my... Oh, here's my lovely soybeans. Expected yield 125. Potential yield 125. I mean, that's amazing. What kind of soil do I have here? Let's just work out how this... I haven't played this game now for an hour or so. Okay, so that's on loam. So loam is as good as it gets. Fair play. If I were to sneak into the corner here, I suspect I would see the yield change. Yeah, expected yield 100%. Now, if I run over to here, which is my sunflowers, the nitrogen is perfect. The pH value is good. I guess the fact that there's weeds is an issue. Now, I'm too late to use a weeder, but I can use a thing called a hoe to weed these weeds. Hoe! And so that the idea behind the hoe is that it goes between the plants and rips up plants that are between the plants. If you look carefully at the animation, you'll see that the weeds are not sitting perfectly between the plants. But, I suspect the game isn't going to care about that. Oh, look, a few of them are. That one's absolutely in line. But I strongly suspect that if I use a hoe, which is something I've never used before, and I whiz up and down that field, I don't even recognise half of these sheds. Where am I? Oh, I'm here. That's where I am. All those weeds will be gone. So let's have a little look at what the hoe possibilities are. They'll be under weeders. And I think there's only one hoe available, and it's a 9-metre hoe. Hoes pull out small and medium grown weeds. That's a weeder, 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 weeder. And I think if I whizzed over the field with that, I'd be pulling up everything, not just the weeds. I mean, it would be fun to test that theory out, wouldn't it? But anyway, I've never used this hoe, so I'm going to grab it. It's a 9-metre hoe, so it'll do the field eventually. I mean, we'll have to leave it running. No doubt I'll need to do a little whiz up one end and a whiz down the other end. It's £2,500. If I sprayed, I'd have to hire the sprayer and pay for the spray. So I guess this is better value for money, and of course it's environmentally friendly too, and we care about such things. I'm going to whiz up to... Sorry, I was just distracted there by looking over at the sound effects and seeing whether you could hear what I'm doing. I'm just going to whiz up and have a quick check on the piggy wiggies. There are 170 of them now, which is good. They're 100% healthy. They've got food, they've got slurry, they've got water, they've got straw. It's all looking good. What is the capacity for slurry? Just because I don't want it to run out of capacity. Oh, it's got masses of capacity for slurry, so it can carry on slurrying away there. So what I think I ought to do is I ought to whip off to this hoe. It's only requires 140 horsepower, which means I can't use my 68 horsepower tractor, which is a shame because I thought it would be funny to use my little electric tractor. But I will use my lovely Fendt 724. Might start the engine first. Novel kind of approach. And I will whiz off to the field. I wonder what the yield in this field is like. It's 100% because it's whatever it is, sandy loam instead of loamy sand. Sandy loam means it's loam with a little bit of sand, whereas loamy sand means it's sand with a little bit of loam. Did I say the same thing twice? Sandy loam is better quality because it's got a higher loam content than loamy sand, which is more sand and less loam. Yeah, I'm sure you get it. Sand, of course, very important for drainage, but loam slightly higher in organic matter, better water retention, um, better for earthworms, and earthworms add a lot of nitrogen to the soil. I think I'm right in saying that an earthworm in a given day will excrete its own mass in urine or urea, waste products, into the soil every day. And of course that's very nitrogen rich. So earthworms are good because they aerate the soil, which gives bacteria oxygen to help them to break stuff down. And of course it increases the nitrogen content of the soil. Now, I have never used one of these before. I don't know what the quicks and tricks are with it. But what I'll do is I shall whip along one end of the field, and then I'll bomb up to the other end of the field and do the same, and then I'll leave it on a whacker. Then I'm going to have a little look at piggies, and I'm going to have a little look at what the prices are doing. I think we also ought to think about whether we're going to buy some chickens. I've got the chicken place. If I'm not going to buy any chickens, I should sell the chicken place and get some money for it. But I think it would be quite nice to have some chickens. I mean, they don't make you any money. It's just nice to have them around. Nice to hear them. So we've got to line this up very carefully. See what happens. You can't really tell. I'm just going to escape from the vehicle and come around and have a little look. Weeds. No weeds. Well, that's very smart, isn't it? And as we move left, now we start seeing weeds. No weeds. It has not affected the yield potential as far as I can tell. Expected yield here is 75, expected yield here is 79, 80%. So it's only going to reach its potential, and I don't understand why its potential is so low. Is it because I haven't ploughed? But strictly speaking, ploughing only needs to be periodical. Let's see what happens at the end here. I reckon she should be able to turn around quite comfortably. It's a beautiful machine. You can see quite a cluster of weeds there. I'm going to get the treatment. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Excellent. They get ripped out, but my plants are unaffected by it. That is great. Now, when I get down to the other end, I'm going to nip. Is it worth weeding my way down to the other end, which is slow, or should I just bomb to the other end, which is quick? I might bomb. Bombing appeals in a non-terrorist violence way. I've tweaked things a little bit so I'm closer to my microphone. So I'm hoping that'll be good. I don't want to be too close to my screen because I've got varifocals. So I have to look very specifically at a place in order to see something. In the good old days, my peripheral vision allowed me to take in the whole view without having to get too close. Right, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to bomb all the way up. I must stop saying bomb. I'm going to whiz all the way up to the top end and do 2 widths. And then start going up and down, because I think that will be slightly quicker to getting me going. Then I can leave this tractor to do its own thing and clear off and do other things. Not that there's a huge amount to do. Bit of chicken buying. a bit of pig maintenance. Again, the pigs are being very low maintenance, basically. Well, I haven't looked to see how much they are. When they reach 1,000, I think I'm going to think about selling them. Nope, that's not what I meant to be doing. Well done, if you spotted that. What I meant to be doing is going this way, which I've now ruined by already starting it. I'm going to go this way, then I'm going to come back. I'm drinking very strong coffee and I hope it'll keep me awake. I've just had a large supper. I've just got to that age where all I really want to do is sort of put my feet up. I mean, this is me putting my feet up, but this is also when I would then subsequently fall asleep immediately. I don't normally drink coffee. I'll sometimes have them in a restaurant or something if I'm out with friends. But I do have an espresso machine which was given to me as a present. And so I make coffee for other people, which they say is very nice. So I'm having I think what they call out here an allongé, which is like it's a double espresso. Then you just keep allowing the water to flow in till you've got a sort of longish black coffee. Is that called an allongé? I don't know. Je ne sais pas. My French is not very good. Everyone out here is very nice, and I do my French, and people are sweet. Got phoned up by my mobile phone company today, and I knew what they wanted. So it always helps if you half know what the conversation is going to be about before it starts. But she was very sweet. She's not allowed to speak English, even though I'm sure she could speak English. She sounded very bright. But she's not allowed to because phone calls are recorded for training purposes, etc. And I said, my English isn't very good, but I said, I think I know what's going on. Have I got to deal with this today? Yes, she said. Okay, and then I said goodbye, and she said goodbye. Sometimes I say goodbye, and I realise that the conversation isn't really over. We have to carry on. But this time it was okay. Broadly speaking, I'm not good on the phone. I'd rather not give anyone my phone number than have to deal with anybody in French on my phone. I don't even like dealing with people in English on my phone, really. Particularly not here, where I have to immediately run upstairs and sort of lean out of a window in order to get a signal. Because I live in the middle of nowhere. And if you live in the middle of nowhere, you are a second-class citizen. You have less good broadband, you have less good mobile phone signals. I can't complain about the broadband. I've had fibre broadband put in. And so I went in one day from having 7.4 megabits per second upload speed and half a megabit per second download. Wrong way around. 7.4 megabits per second download speed and half a megabit per second upload speed. That's when I woke up the Wednesday morning. By the Wednesday afternoon, when the nice man left, I had roughly 900 megabits download and about 850 megabits upload. So that's been a bit of a transformation, hence why I'm streaming playing Farming Simulator rather than just quietly playing Farming Simulator on my own. Because I have ridiculously fast broadband. But I still have very, very bad telephone reception, so, I'm still suffering. Now, in theory, this ought to reach the bottom, have masses of space to turn, and then quietly go back up the other way. And if that's the case, it should be about here, a little bit further, here, there we go. It picks up on the fact that bit has been weeded, and it turns around. Driving all over the crop. I should have row crop tyres on, really, shouldn't I? But I never bother with things like that. Right. Let us feed the piglingtons. Ooh. Off-road. Very adventurous. Shall I buy some chickens too? Let's do that. Let's just have a small number of chickens. Let's have 2 roosters. Hope they don't fight. And let's have lots of baby chooks. So those are 6 months old. Well, I'll have 10 of those, I suppose. And they'll be laying straight away. And let's have 50 of these, let's say. Well, I could have 60, that's the maximum number you're allowed, isn't it? And then they will slowly mature into full-grown chickens. Roosters will be quite busy with 70 lady chickens, but some of the chickens that will be born will be boys. They will grow into roosters. So, well, let's try that. Let's see what happens. If we look at the animals and we go down, we can see that these are all very ill because they have neither grain nor protein. They don't need water. Presumably they get the water from the food that they eat. So that's all tickety-boo. But I can put a little bit of the protein for animals in there, and I can also put some wheat into there. Let's just have a little, see if we can do a quick estimate as to how much, well, there's no way of knowing how much wheat they're going to take, but it needs to be 70% wheat and 30% protein. So if I were, let's just think about these chooks for the time being. If I were to put some amount of wheat in, let's say that amount of wheat in, which is 1,500 litres. And if that is 70%, don't say I'm not going to be able to tip it because I've got my little stupid thingy and I can't. Oh no, that's okay. I'm not very good at steering. So if I put 1,500 litres of wheat in, and if it takes it all, that's great. And by my reckoning, I should put about 600 litres of protein in, and that'll be about the right proportion. So I'm going to take a little bit more than 3. That's the protein for animals is miles up this way. Is it protein for animals that it needs, or is it mineral feed? Sorry to be an idiot. It must be protein for animals, I'm sure. Proteinous, yeah, protein for animals. And it says sorghum, wheat, or oats. Not barley. It's a bit judgy. So it is the protein for animals, which makes sense because it's needed in other things, isn't it? Oh, I've gone all the way back to that. It's quite a long way up the list in this direction. It's mineral feed. Protein for animals. So I want plenty because I want to give it to the pigs. So I'll fill the thing up, but somehow I've got to only put a tiny amount in. I'm going to put grain door. There we go. But somehow I only want to put 300 litres. No, 600 litres I said, didn't I? 600 litres in, and that will be roughly 70% to 30% in my very bad, in my head, mathematics. So, I want to wait till it says 7,400 and then I want to stop it. Okay. That's interesting, isn't it? So 7 to 3. So what I'm thinking is that 70 is a little bit over twice. Yeah, okay. Well, we're quite close. What I might do is just put all the remaining protein that I've got in and then top it up with grain in the future. Does that make sense? I think it does. It's not going to take much. No. If we look there, right, it's now full of capacity, but there's less protein than grain, and I'll put more grain in on some future occasion. Good, good, good. Now let's go and whiz up to see the Piglingtons. They won't take all of this, but they'll take some of it. We need to check on water, we need to check on straw, we need to check on other foodstuffs. As long as they've got a bit of everything, they'll be all right. The mistake I made initially was overfilling them with 2 of them, so there was no room for any protein. And they need to have some protein. So I'm just going to let it fill to the max, I think. There we go. Lovely. I'm going to pop this back into... I'm going to pop this back into the store because I want the trailer to be empty because I need to move the fertilizer and the seeds that are knocking about in the middle of the field. Those 2 things there, which look very untidy. And I can pop those into the store by loading them up onto the trailer and tipping them into my magical underground store. Have my last little sip of coffee now that it's gone cold. I'm not convinced that unless you're a caffeine addict, coffee has much effect on tiredness. And I don't think I'm a caffeine addict. I do drink cups of tea. I like a cup of tea. But I can go days and days and days without a cup of tea and don't think about it. It just helps to provide a little bit of structure when you get up. Oh, let's have a cup of tea before we do anything else. It's almost like a way of avoiding doing anything else. It is lovely. But it's coming on to rain. Well, that's blooming marvellous. Best to get this under cover. I suppose it doesn't matter that it's raining. It's good that it's raining. Good for the crops. It's not going to interfere with my hoeing operations. But I do want to get this fertiliser under cover before it gets ruined by the rain. Likewise the seeds. Oh look, thunder. Can you hear that? I need to turn the background noises up just a touch. At 24 minutes. It's writing 24 minutes, and I'll listen to the playback, see what the sound is like. Let me go and grab the seeds. Come on. Cracking. Right, I'll go and pop this in the shed. I don't know what the slurry and water situation is like. I guess there's enough slurry to remove some and put it in store. And while I'm up there, I'll have a little look at the water situation. Now then, where do we think? Oh, I know. I think I left the water tank by the water trough. So I can't really do anything about slurry until I've emptied the water tank. Or I could put the slurry straight into my slurry tanker, which I could do. Oh yes. It's taken a little bit of water, but not much. I'll leave the water tanker there to fill it up later. And I'll remove the slurry, such slurry as there is, I will remove using my little baby tractor. And the slurry tank. And I should be fine pulling it with this, given that I'm not actually operating the slurry tank. So I'm not using the PTO, I'm just using the pulling power. And actually it doesn't look disproportionately small for this slurry tanker. I'm pretty sure the slurry tanker requires like 100 and something horsepower to operate properly. But that is fine. Do electric tractors have regular hydraulic systems? Oil-powered hydraulic systems? And do they have a PTO shaft? Apparently they have a PTO shaft. That's amazing. Must run the battery down very quickly when those things are on. Let's see what we've got on a slurry front. Might not be very much. Oh, well, it's at least one tank full. Oh, I shall come back for more. Don't want the slurry to fill up, because if it fills up, more slurry is being produced, it's got nowhere to go. So I'd rather do a few unnecessary trips. Than to allow things to go to waste. Let's empty into my secret underground bunker, like Dr. Evil. So that was 8,200 litres. Can I remember how much I thought was there? Did I think 1,700 litres was there? If 17,000 litres was there? If I did, then I should be able to fill this all the way back up to the top. And then there will be just literally a tiny amount left. So I might get out. We'll see what happens. If it fills all the way up to the top, I shall get out and see how much is left. Now, my prediction is that there'll only be 1,000 litres or so left. Slurry, 2,764. So there's a little bit more than I thought there would be. Because I've taken 16,400 away. So that was more like 19,000 litres in there. I think I'll leave that remaining dribble where it is. I don't know how much slurry that leaves me in my secret underground bunker. It leaves me 56,762. That's quite a sensible amount. I could certainly do this field that currently has soybeans in it, but will eventually have something else like carrots in it. Yeah, it's exciting. Now then, I think that we should get the protein for animals process up and running again. I'm going the wrong way with this. I want to park it. Let's park it with other trailer-like objects. Let's park it in here. It's a bit smaller than these other trailer-like objects, but it's definitely in a category which you could call a trailer-like object. There we go. Pop in here and have a little look, see what's happening. Oop. There we go. Oh, it's nice just to hear the chickens in the background. Can you hear them? That's one of the reasons for having chickens. It's just lovely to hear them. I wonder if they go wandering around outside their pens, just like... oh. Yeah, there's a little bit of chasing. Very pleasing. Don't know what's happening about eggs. I'll deal with that in due course. Now then, let's have a little look here and see what is missing from the machine. So, it's got a little bit of minerals. It's got a little bit of water. And then it needs barley and sugar beet cut. So what I'm going to do first of all is, whilst I'm on my feet, is I'm going to go and grab a couple of pallets of minerals. There's one. Oop. And I'm going to take it all the way. Oh, weather's not very nice, is it? Take it all the way. I'm just going to drop it on the floor. Oh, in fact, what I'm going to do is throw it unnecessarily and then pick it up. That's better. I'm going to take it to that. It's been immediately consumed, so I'll go back and get another one. And I should keep doing this until it stops consuming them. And when it stops consuming them, I'll take one more. If you get my drift. Just so I've got sort of backup supplies. It's very clever the way this machine unscrews the lids, pours out the contents, and then pops the lid and the container into the recycling bin. And it also seems to deal with the wooden pallet as well. Oh, so it's not all gone. And what I said was, at that point I'd go and get one more. Let's have this one. Bing, bing, bing. That is some rain. Ep13 has tornadoes. I hope it doesn't have tornadoes. Have I said this before? I hope it doesn't have tornadoes, you know, in non-tornado places. So if I'm farming in Gloucestershire, I don't really want a tornado coming through and kind of whipping through the farm, because, you know, it's not a very Gloucestershire thing to happen. And although I would not be one of the more realistic of farmers, I do draw the line at having my crop destroyed by a tornado when I'm farming in Gloucestershire. Come on. Haven't even got round to looking at the price of soybeans yet. I'm going to do a little cheeky save once I've got a price. I'm going to do a little cheeky save. It accelerates very quickly. It's a classic electric vehicle. It's got such good torque. It accelerates, bosh, immediately. Now I've got some water in here. I don't know how much this is going to take, but we will make sure that we get rid of all the water. I mean, not that we get rid of all the water, but that we fill the thing up as high as it'll go. That now means that it is full of water and it's full of minerals. So if I click here and go to processes, you can see minerals and water are both full. And I'm going to get close to filling barley. I'll put 8,000 litres of barley in. Or should I put 8,000 litres of cut sugar beet in? Maybe that's what I need to do. I'll just save the game first because I'm full of doubt and anxiety. Let's do the sugar beet first because I have a feeling it takes more sugar beet than barley. And I don't want there to be any stuff lying on the surface uncollected, because that prevents me from adding the other ingredient. I don't know if I'm making myself very clear. Let's top up the water at vast expense from this extremely handy gadget that all farms should have, which allows you to top up any of your vehicles with any material, including brown water. Lovely brown water. Look like French onion soup. I don't know whether that's soup made from French onions or onion soup made in France. Never really know. I assume it's onion soup made in France. In overcooked. It's a sort of brown colour. I suspect in reality it's more of a sort of yellow ochre colour. Now then, I believe, and I won't have a word said against it, but I believe that I have some cut sugar beet in my little store. So I'm going to pop there and see if I have some cut sugar beet in my little store. I do not know it, but I believe it. And if I'm wrong, I'll accept it. I think it's quicker to go this way. Sugar beet, cut sugar beet. I have no cut sugar beet, complete waste of time. Right, so I'm going to buy 8,000 litres of cut sugar beet. Down to £120,000. It's getting pretty desperate. I've just had a ping. It's about jazz on Monday. My jazz band is rehearsing on Monday afternoon. Unless, of course, they aren't. Let's have a quick read of the message. Yeah, it's all good. Jazz practice Monday afternoon. I'm the only one who really needs the practice. The rest of them are pretty professional. We're going to maybe let's get right over the centre of that. Let's get out of that. And let's hop into this. something like about that should do the trick. Now then, I thought I'd got out of it. It's so irritating. I thought I had left it. There we go. Am I roughly over the... I need to be a bit further up. Now I need to make sure that I tip my sugar beet exactly in the catchment area of that. It's very, it has to be said, it is very generous. You know, for which I'm very grateful. Now I'm hoping that all of this will go in. I'll get a sense of whether it's all going in from here. If when it gets to 4,000, it's going to be tight. How much is left? Oh no, it's not going to be tight at all. Should be absolutely fine. There's a good 4,000 space left, and I've only got a little bit. Yeah, that's not bad at all. It's going to get close, but it's not going to, surely not going to overflow. No, there we go. So I think 10,000, looking at that, 10,000 sugar beet is how much sugar beet it can hold. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a full, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive my very expensive car into a solid upright steel stanchion that's set in concrete. I'm going to get in underneath here. I'm going to grab some, is it barley? Is that the other thing? Yes. I'm going to grab some barley, 8,000 litres of it, which is, you know, it's quite expensive. And I'm going to tip all of this here, because even if it doesn't absorb it all immediately, it will absorb it all once it starts using it up. If there's one thing I did not want to do, it was that. I mean, that is so irritating. I thought I'd been so careful. I want to get close, but I don't want to get that close. Don't know what hit it. One of the joys of the articulation of these things is that they are immensely manoeuvrable, assuming that one has the ability, which is kind of where I fall down. So we'll tip the lot here. It'll probably absorb the lot, I would think, but it might leave a little bit left on the ground, and that will get consumed as the other barley gets consumed. That's how I see it. Let's turn the machine on, and it'll immediately start consuming stuff. Very nice. Oh yeah, it's taken the lot. It's taken the lot. I think we can probably say it's 10,000 of barley, 10,000 of sugar beet, 1,500 of minerals, and 3,500 of water. I think that's what we can say. Now, the reason the minerals isn't changing is that I've put a little pile of minerals there, and so they keep getting absorbed. Every time there's a space, they get absorbed. But that is okay. I'll just remind myself that I have got everybody taken care of. Pigs are good. I suppose technically they could have some more straw, but I don't think it's worth worrying about that. My most valuable pigs are 900. I might wait till July and see if they reach 1,000. be a good idea to have a pressure hose? And if so, could I squeeze the pressure hose into this space here? Does it come under miscellaneous? No, I don't think it does. No, I think it's a thing it's like a construction thing. I think it comes under tools. Yeah, I've only got a choice of one. Weather station improves the weather forecast available on your farm. That will be alright for the time being, I think. It's quite expensive pressure hose. I'm only having it if I can have it where I want it. So can I have it there? No. Can I have it there? No. Can I have it right in there? It does look like the answer to that is possibly yes. In which case, bosh. I will have it. Lovely. Very nice. Shall I give this a quick wash while we're here? No, it's all a bit rubbish. Particularly as it's raining, but nothing like hitting stuff with the old pressure hose. What's great, of course, is that if you clean one part, you are effectively cleaning all parts. And there she is, looking really quite sweet. She could do with a little bit of maintenance. She could do with a squeeze of oil, squeeze of fuel, just in preparation for jobs down the road. £1,000 in maintenance, yeah. There's nothing customisable about her. She's I could have wider tyres, but I don't think we'll worry about that. I do like a wide tyre. I think it looks good. But it's not the be all and end all. It is not the be all and end all. There you go. Are we saying that we have completely weeded this field? A little bit surprised if that's the case. Have I done down here? Are there no... Oh. I think basically I've taken care of the old weedage. Which is well jolly. Which means I don't need this thing anymore, which has cost quite a lot to rent. There are a few. I tell you what, I reckon there are still a few weeds. Down the side there, so I'm just going to bomb down this row, trying not to. I reckon a few weeds might have been missed along the way. God, you've got to be good with this, haven't you? You don't want to weed out your own crop. I'm not sure I'd trust myself with one of these. Not without considerable computer support. Though it does seem to do a good job. Whew, I do apologise for the yawning. And I don't have a spare hand to put my hand in front of my mouth. So it minimises the capacity for good manners. What I could do is reach out and mute my camera every time I want to yawn. Though that also requires planning and thought and intellectual capacity and all those sorts of things. Going to quickly refuel, even though I don't really need it, just as a point of principle. I'm going to we're going to repair it. Am I going to repair it? Okay, apparently I'm going to repair it, and then I'm going to give it back. I don't know if that helps me in any way. And I'm going to repair this, which is £383. I don't think there's any customization I want to do on it. I think I'm going to pop it back into the shed here, next to Mr. JCB, Mr. Sir John, I'm going to say Charles Bamford. Don't know if he is JC John Charles. Maybe he's Jesus Christ Bamford, but I suspect he's John Charles. John Christopher Bamford? That is a possibility, isn't it? In fairness, Christopher is a possibility. Now then, let's save, because I haven't saved for a few moments, and I have autosave off because it autosaves mistakes over good things, or in my experience it does, and I like to just save when I'm happy. Now then, let's have a little look at prices. It is midday in June. What I'm keen to do is to get rid of my soybeans, and the highest price available there is 4267 at the elevator, of course, my nemesis location. Corn is looking good price wise, but I don't really have enough. Potatoes I'm not interested in selling, because I will probably feed potatoes to my piggy wiggies, or I'll make gin with them. So 4268 is the highest price there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to whiz through till tomorrow, but early tomorrow, like 6 o'clock. Just going to remind myself, 4269, I'm going to make a note of that. 4269 for soya. Then I'm going to whiz through till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, which will be July, and see whether the price is still going up, or whether it's peaked, or whatever. But if it's a decent price, I shall sell. So 4278 is technically more than it was, which is kind of pleasing. It's on its way down, so I'm going to sell. It's quite light, isn't it, for the morning of July? I'm going to sell all my soybeans. I'm going to pop the trailer on. I'm going to put the extension on the trailer so that I can take 30,000 litres at a time, which will be about £120,000 a trailer, and I should be able to do 2.5 trailers. 2.5 trailers exactly. Oh, let's quickly nip here and do what I said I was going to do. Let's try and do what you say you're going to do. Customize it, put the extension on. Looks good, doesn't it? Customize it for £0. And then I'm going to back up into here. Oh, no, I'm not. It's too tricky. Now I am. And I am going to fill it with soybeans. Then I'm going to go out into the road. And I'm going to auto deliver. I wonder what the price got to, such that it's on its way down at the price now. The price now is slightly more than the price was yesterday midday when I bailed out. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to do create a job. The job is to deliver to the elevator, grain elevator, and to come back to here, pointing in the other direction, and to loop so you do come back to there. That's what I want it to do. I want it to drive to the elevator, to tip, and then to come back. That's what I want. That seems simple enough, doesn't it? Meanwhile, I shall go and first of all have a look at the chicks, the chuk-chuks. See what the chuk-chuk situation is. Is there an egg collection point, or do I have to go in and collect the eggs myself? I suspect that I need to go in and collect the eggs myself. Open the dialog box. They are not a lot of information there. Health, animal 72. Yeah, sounds about right. 100% healthy. They've got masses of food. What's the egg situation? Do I have to collect them myself, which is awfully hard work? It's quite nice when they just appear as if by magic. Like that. And I can just go and sell them. And I'll use this government sell point. I don't have any particular guilt about that. I'll use this government sell point to sell my eggs. It's not very much money, and it's as good a price as anywhere else. Bosh. Interesting that havoc has broken out here. Stuff has moved in the night again. I don't know how that happens, but these things are not aligned anymore. Everything is running. But, it's all running very happily. I don't need to do anything. Got plenty of protein for animals there. What's the situation with the pigs? They're looking pretty good. Base food's a bit low. Protein's a bit low. I'm going to chuck a load more protein in, I think. I'm not going to bother with them just for the moment. But I'm going to empty out the machine of protein, put as much as I can into the pigs, as much as I can into the chickens, and then tip the rest into store. That's all lovely. I don't know how much these guys will take. I might change the tipping. Gosh, I'm going now. Time flies by when you're a busy boy. So they're taking quite a lot. So they're taking a heck of a lot. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. That's plenty of protein now, isn't it? It's now base food and root crops that I need to add. Base food next time. Base food being, in the case of this machine, very specifically, it did tell me, didn't it? How did I find out what the things were that I was allowed to feed this? There was a way, wasn't there? Oh, I know. I know how I found out. Because I did it from here. Because it's production, it's animals, sorry, and it's pigs, and it's large pigsty, and it takes pig food, it takes protein, it takes potatoes, it takes turnips, it takes carrots, it takes parsnips, and it takes beetroots. So base food is pig food, which I've either got to make or I've got to buy. And I think for the time being it's easy just to buy it. Let's see how much of this I can get rid of to the chickens. I'll just fill up with whatever's left in the machine on the way past. That it? Oh. I'll see whether the chickens will take any of this. They might do. I'll take a little bit. I don't want to over-protein them. Yeah. So I've got to push the grain from here on in. When they're down on food, give them more grain. And with these guys, when they're down on food, I'm going to give them more pig food. Let's tip this. It's good to have got that whole protein situation sorted out, because it was a bit of a bore to start with when I didn't know what was going on. Anything else we need to worry about? Straw's fine, water's fine. A little bit of slurry there. I could pick up that bit of slurry, but it's got such capacity, I don't think it's worth worrying about. I don't know. Oh, pigs are 1020. That's interesting. I'm going to make a little note of that. Pigs are 1020. Soya was 4,278 or something like that, wasn't there? Oh, it's come right down in that time. And of course, my my time is whizzing by at a terrific rate, so it's plunging all the time. So I'm not actually making as much money now as I would have done if I'd sold in June, which is very annoying. But here I am. It's a problem with selling it so far away. It takes a long time to get there. Price is falling all the time. If only I knew where I was and where I was going, life would be so much easier. In a perfect world, Let's go this way. In a perfect world, I would now discover that it's actually get a better price. With one of the other dealers, even though it's not as good a price as I would have got if I'd stayed in June. Sold it in June. Great demand at farmers market. What's the great demand for? It won't be for soybeans. That would be crazy. That would be nice, but that would be crazy. It's one of those occasions when, because deliveries take time, you cut the speed of time back down to real time. You can get a lot more done before you turn the time back up again. Let's quickly pop under here and start filling up with soybeans. Then let's have a look and see what's there a great demand for. Nothing. Is there a way of just seeing great demands? I've asked this question before, and unsurprisingly nobody has answered. I'm looking out for a blue. Would I spot a blue at this speed? It's very hard to tell. Any blues, 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 blues. Ooh. Yeah. Strawberry jelly. There's a great demand for strawberry jelly, by which I assume we mean strawberry jam, at the farmer's market. Well, I don't know why you bother telling me that, really, given that I haven't got any. 422. It's still got to be the grain elevator. But it's a bit annoying that I'm only getting that price for it. And I don't even know. Oh, I know why it took so long. I still got 12 miles an hour as my top speed. Oh, disaster. Disaster. Create job. Deliver. Grain elevator. Come back to that position. Start job. It went at 12 miles an hour all the way there. That's why it took so long. Disastrous. Now it'll go a bit faster. Expected yield potential is only 80%. I just don't know what I've done wrong here. Is it the lack of ploughing? Does it say the field needs ploughing? I'd be very surprised if it did say the field needs ploughing. If we turn off other options. It doesn't offer needs ploughing as a thing. Well, there we go. Disappointing. What can I say? Sunflowers are growing, and my soybeans are growing. Growing, and they're going to yield well. Probably 2 months away from them. Everything else is kind of fine. Kinda fine. It's now an hour and 20 minutes since I got up. I was confident where I was going I would take over, but I'm not entirely confident that I know from here where I'm heading. Oh yeah, must have been very slow going this way last time. Anyway, I got 120,000 for it. It's quite hard work. 30 tonnes of soybeans, plus the weight of the trailer. It's a big old grunt even for a big tractor like this. Anyway, it does it very well. Full credit to the beastie. Got all manner of communications flying in, left, right and centre. Just going to check one. Oh, it's from Ali. Don't know if you'll have enough to do. Oof, that is a struggle. Unsurprisingly, that is a struggle. Elevador de grano. Wonder what that could possibly mean. We may never know. It's a bit like there's no way of knowing what IFL Science stands for. There's a website called IFL Science. And there's just no indication on the website as to what that stands for. Something to do with science. Science of the IFL, perhaps. Is that like TEFL? Foreign language? I don't know. Elevado de grano. See if I can drive home. 125,000. So that's got me a bit of money. I'm going to bomb over this bridge. I don't know if bombing over this bridge is the right thing to do, and I don't know what to do when I get over the bridge. Oh, let's just ride the curb. Let's grind that curb. Let's whiz around here. See if this is the right thing to do. I'm still obsessed with the idea that the map has changed, in that it now moves so that you're always pointing in the same direction. But I'm sure there was a time when it wasn't like, oh look, I'm into a grove of almonds. I'm sure there was a time when the map stayed still and you moved relative to it. So therefore you could find your way around if you knew roughly where on the map you wanted to go. But now the map spins, so I have no idea where I am on the map relative to anything else. Fortunately, I recognise this bit. So what do I do with the last 15,000 litres of corn, of soybeans? I suppose I ought to sell them, but maybe I'll sell them somewhere a bit more local. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll sell them somewhere a little bit more local. Get less money for them, but such a bore wading through all that stuff. What are the other places to sell it. 4184, 3862 in the Southern Cooperative. It's not a very good price, really. Where is the Southern Cooperative? It's just there. So let's nip there and sell these. You know, it's still good money. It's just ironically not quite as much as I could have got if I'd sold them in June. But I'm not reloading my saved game and doing that again. As tempting as it is, I just ain't doing it. Do I stay on this road? I have a feeling is this what we decided last time I was supposed to do? Or do I go up there and turn left? Which is the right way? It feels like turning right here, bombing up to the top and turning left is the right thing to do. But maybe there's no way in if I do that. No, this is right. I just started out the journey incorrectly. I need to get to the nice, smart bit of road as soon as possible. And there's quite a tight left-hand turn here. Yeah. Ooh, tight left-hand turn. Oh, didn't see the barrier. See, that's what I mean about my varifocals. So I wasn't focused on that bit of the screen. And so I just didn't see any of it. Whereas before I wore glasses, I would have seen all of that. What would be great is when I can put my 3D goggles on and see everything in glorious 3D. I guess that would be great. Do Microsoft make 3D goggles? Are they Xbox compatible? Can they be... In the same way that you can use your computer as a virtual screen for your Xbox, just link to it. Could I link to some 3D goggles? I guess the game would have to be 3D compatible, wouldn't it? It couldn't just sort of retroactively become 3D. It would have to be fundamentally 3D. Otherwise there's an awful lot of additional processing has to be done. Anyway, one day, hopefully within my lifetime, I will see that. Now then, this is where decisions have to be made. Do I buy that cattle place and get some cattle? Bearing in mind that I'll buy all their food because I'm not in a position to make their food. So I shall buy all their food cheaply from my thing that sits on the farm. Will I make as much money from the cattle as I would from having an extra field? I think the most sensible thing to do would be to buy one more field just so that I can boost my production. If I were to buy field 22, which is a decent sized field, what's it got in it at the moment? Ugh. What is pink? Is that sugar beet? What stage is it at? It's growing sugar beet, which means I'll have to harvest a humongous great field of sugar beet, which is quite hard work. I'm not completely averse to hard. Well, I am fairly averse to hard work. 45 is full of corn, of ripe corn. The problem with it being ripe is that it won't be very good, will it? What 33, and maybe it's not, maybe 45 is not full of corn. Maybe I need to go and have a look and see what 45 is full of. Perhaps 45 is full of chickpeas. Yeah, that seems to ring a bell. I think we'd already established that it was full of chickpeas. 45 is the one down here. It's a good sized field. It's not a completely regular shape, so it requires just a little bit more thought in its management. But it's got chickpeas in it, which is quite fun. It's good size. Chickpeas only going to yield 64%. I could buy it, harvest it, and sell it again, couldn't I? And I'd get that. And because it's ready to harvest, I can't do anything to improve it. The field that I kind of wanted, which is this big one all the way over here, is not. It's growing, I think, rather than being ready to harvest. Ooh. It's good exercise. Getting my 10,000 steps a day in. There's this, which is chickpeas. Again, only 64% yield. And then there's this, which is growing sugar beet. Now then, I could buy this and just plough it in. Because harvesting sugar beet is a slow old business. Unless, of course, I hire the super speedy harvesting machine, the ridiculously mad harvesting machine, which is a thing that exists. And then the sugar beet's worth, it's a good crop. This would need some work. It would need some work, but it might be interesting. It might keep me busy. Might keep me busy. How much is it? It's only £174,000. So I think I will buy it. And I will have it analysed. 6,800 pounds to have it analysed, and it's a decent field. What is the information as far as pH is not great, nitrogen is very poor. So what I ought to do is get some lime on it. It is only 8:30 in the morning after all. I ought to get some lime on it, and then I ought to put some fertiliser on it, and I can do both of those things with the same piece of equipment. So I shall grab my number 1 tractor here. I shall leap onto my lime spreader, and I shall spread lime initially It is tempting to spread slurry, but I don't think I have enough slurry, and it's too big a field, probably, for the slurry spreader that I've got. It's not too big a field. In the real world, I would just take the time over it and do it. But in game terms, it would mean a lot of trips back to the store, because I don't think that my spreader will automatically refill from my stores. There is the option when you in the settings, you can either have your driver, as it were, automatically buy you more lime as you need it, not more lime, more slurry as you need it, or it runs out and you have to top it up. But there's also, it automatically tops up from your purchase stores, which is essentially free, but it has to interact with those stores, and I don't think that that it will interact with the stores that I have. So let's whack some lime on. It's a slightly funny shaped field, but it's just this bit at the end that's funny, and I tend to square it all up, make it a more regular shape, impose some structure upon it. Oof. Smoky. Driving on somebody's crop here, one of my neighbours. That's how to make yourself popular with the neighbours. Okay, back down here. A little bit at the end. Not getting done. We might think about doing that at the end. I can probably adjust the spread width from inside the cab and do that a little bit at the end. Maybe. Let's just finish it all off. Bish bash bosh. Let's pop down here. Just lost my line a touch there. So, sugar beet were a good crop in terms of financial return. It's very high yielding, but as a result of it being so high yielding, it is slow to harvest because it is constantly filling the harvester. The standard harvesters are only 3 meters wide, so you have to do a lot of ups and downs. There is, however, a ridiculous modded harvester. I mean, absolutely nuts, which drives at 60 miles an hour and has a ridiculous width of cutter and has a storage of 150,000 litres or something. So I may go with some variation of that that's kind of appropriate to the kit that I've got. Oh, look at that. I'm missing a whole row. Isn't that infuriating? I'm not a very good judge. I don't even know what the official width capacity of this thing is, and I don't think it's tweakable. With sprayers and fertiliser spreaders, you can limit the spread if you're doing a narrow strip that you've missed. I might want to just get to the end here, just pause and see if that's an option. I don't think it is, no. Not on this, with this great big twin spinny distribution system. Is it going to... do those bits that I've missed? Oh, crikey, I'm just miles away from being where I want to be. Let's go right into this bloke's field. Drive right into his chickpeas. Oof. You don't want to be driven into your chickpeas. I don't think that's any way to go. Okay, just about justifying. Yay. Okay, I think I can probably leave this now. No, I can't. Yes, I can. It'll probably run quite happily now. It's not putting very much on at the moment. It'll put lots of fertiliser on when I've finished liming it. And from a texture's point of view, the fertiliser will remove the appearance of the lime, so it'll be easy to keep track of the bits you've done and the bits you haven't done. There's only a little bit up here I haven't done. It's not worth the hassle, I don't think, of doing it. Do I need to back up to do this? Oh, I don't know what you're doing. Don't know what you're doing. I'm going to put my right wheel on that mark there and assert that that is probably about right. Yeah, there's a bit of overlap, but nothing too serious. Right, I think I'm going to call it a day on the old streamage, and I shall see you quite early tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.